Good morning, everyone. My name is Katrina Chen. I'm BC's Minister of State for Childcare, and just really honored to be with you all here today on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish and the Musqueam First Nations. And I know the weather is really cold outside. It's kind of snowing a little bit, but after doing the sing-along with kids and seeing them dancing, all of our hearts are warm. We feel warm in this room because we are really coming here today together to celebrate children and family who deserve inclusive, quality, affordable childcare services. And of course, we have our Chief Wayne Sparrow, who is going to bring our the traditional welcome from the unceded traditional territory very soon. But I do have a long list of guests here. I'm going to do a quick introduction, and some of them don't really need introductions because we have, for example, the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And we have our Premier David Eby. Well, you can clap. Yes. And of course, I'm so honored to be able to work with Minister Karina Gould on the childcare plan over the years, and I've learned so much from her, and we've learned together to see how we can support families and children in BC, and of course, thanks to the Prime Minister and Minister Gould for the support across Canada. And we also have principal from the Richmond Jewish Day School and Childcare Center, Sabrina Bojani. Here, thank you. And because we're here, of course, for families and children, we definitely need to hear from a parent who is a parent of 3 right here at this amazing inclusive childcare Ryut Dahan, who will also share her story. But I see a lot of friends here. Thank you. I also see a lot of friends here in the crowd, and I'm going to do my best to quickly introduce them. We have federal MPs Parm Bains, Wilson Miao, if you want to just quickly wave, and our provincial colleagues Kelly Green, Ammon Singh, Henry Yao. And we have Mayor Malcolm Brody and his councillors Carol Day and Andy Hobbs. And we're also really honored to have First Nations dignitaries, including Robert Phillips from FNLC and some of our friends from the Métis Nation of BC as well. And also, of course, the Coalition of Childcare Advocates, ECBC, and all the friends and early childhood educators. If you can raise your hand, and we just want to really thank all the early childhood educators and professionals for your important work. Thank you. And of course, we need to thank our host today, the Richmond Jewish Day School, for hosting today's event. All of your friends and supporters, I know there's a lot of representatives from your community here today as well. We really thank you for your warm welcome. And without further ado, I would like to welcome the Chief from Musqueam Indian Band, Chief Wayne Sparrow, to say a few words. Thank you.
Siam Siaya Ichwell Siam. My name is Wayne Sparrow. I'm the elected chief of the Musqueam First Nation. My traditional name is Uyakalak. It gives me a privilege and honor to welcome each and every one of you here to the unceded territory of the Musqueam First Nation. Coming out, and when I got the invite, I want to acknowledge all leadership that's in this room. And very important, you know, as First Nations people with children are our future. Everything we can do to support the parents and the children so we can be successful. You know, in First Nations, the children are so important to us to carry our culture and our teachings. And if we don't have the daycares and the schools to help out in that, we'll never be successful. So I just want to acknowledge each and every one of you, and you're welcome here. You know, I don't consider myself a politician. I represent our community. I look at everybody in front. I consider my family. Our family is here. We're all here to work for the betterment of our province and our country. So on behalf of our community, again, I want to welcome each and every one of you here. Haichka Siam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. So, of course, we would like to now welcome the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, to share a few words and about the good celebration here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Sparrow, for your welcome. Thank you for all your leadership through what has been difficult times to be an elected leader. If you're an elected leader, you're a politician. You know, being there to serve your community is something that has been at the center of everything that you have done in your leadership. In our conversation just a few weeks ago, we talked about all the things that we get to continue to work on together, and I really want to lift you up for your leadership and the partnership that you've been bringing forward. Principal Bojani, thank you very much for having us here at the Richmond Jewish Day School. I know Mayor Brody is here as well. Thank you, Malcolm, for being here, for being part of this. I really look forward to working with you and the community of Richmond as we build a stronger future for the families that are impacted by this announcement, but families who are facing difficult times, but also pulling together as we know we must to get through them. Happy, of course, to be here with our two great local MPs, Parham and Wilson, and also with Minister Karina Gould, with whom I got to make a great dental care announcement yesterday. And today we're talking about childcare. Just two examples of the things that we continue to step up to make sure we're there to support Canadians right across the country who are facing challenging times, but who are time and time again demonstrating that we know, all of us, that the way to get through difficult times is to pull together and dig in and lean on each other and be there for each other. And that is what's going to carry us through. Of course, a huge part of that is being able to be here with David, with Premier Eby and Minister Chen. Today is a reminder of what happens when different orders of government get to work together. And, there's always different perspectives and challenges from those different perspectives. But ultimately, Canadians, the families here at this school, are served by Malcolm, are served by David, are served by me and the great people who work with us. And we're all working our hardest to make sure we're delivering. And the more we can do that in an aligned, coordinated, focused way, the better we're able to actually deliver on the things that people need. So anytime I get a chance to stand beside a premier and make a big announcement that's impacting the lives of Canadians, it's not just the announcement itself that is good news for citizens, but it's the fact of the announcement. It's the fact that governments get to work together to deliver on people's priorities that gives people confidence in our collective capacity to make it through the difficult times we're facing and get real results for Canadians. Livrer des résultats pour les Canadiens, c'est toujours ça notre priorité. Avec la pandémie, avec l'invasion de la Russie en Ukraine, on a vu une accélération de la hausse du coût de la vie. Beaucoup de gens ont trop de difficultés à payer leurs factures. Karina and I and our whole team, we speak with Canadians every day. We hear you when you say that it's getting hard to pay the bills because of inflation. We hear you, and we're here to support you through this global challenge. We doubled the GST credit for 6 months and enhanced the Canada Workers' Benefit. We're delivering payments of an extra $500 for people who are struggling with the cost of rent. Yesterday, as I mentioned, we launched the Canada Dental Benefit that'll help eligible parents send their kids to the dentist with up to $1,300 over 2 years. Now, a lot of people will ask me, okay, it's great that you're sending kids to the dentist, but how does that counter inflation? Well, the fact is, an awful lot of families who need to send their kids to the dentist choose to send their kids to the dentist, even if they're out of pocket for it. Because parents know that making sure their kids are healthy starts with oral health. But now, with money from the government to make sure that they can do that, they'll have more room for the extra expenses that we know all families are going through. This is tangible help for vulnerable families that need it right now. And of course, what brings us here today is that we're continuing to make childcare more affordable right across the country, including and starting with here in BC. As of yesterday, BC has met its joint goal with the federal government to reduce average childcare fees by half. This is good news for families who are now saving up to an additional $6,600 per year per child because of our government's investments. And of course, we're very much on track to delivering that commitment to $10 a day childcare by 2026. This is all part of our plan to make life more affordable for the middle class and people working hard to join it. It's part of our plan to build an economy that works for all Canadians. Les parents, et en particulier les mères, ne devraient pas avoir à choisir entre leur famille et leur carrière. Quand les garderies sont plus abordables, c'est bon pour les familles et c'est aussi bon pour l'économie, parce que ça permet à plus de parents de faire partie du marché du travail. Rayut is a mom who's here with us today who I got to meet a little earlier. She has 2 kids in childcare and 1 in elementary school here at the Richmond Jewish Day School. She'll be speaking in a few minutes and she'll tell us more about her situation. But the one thing that's important to know is that her family is now saving over $1,000 a month on childcare. And more, now that they've secured childcare, Rayut has been able to start working full-time again. That's what we mean when we point out that social policies like affordable childcare are also economic policies. Back in July of 2021, BC became the very first signatory to our Canada-wide plan for $10 a day childcare. But as you know, we've since signed agreements with all provinces and territories. We're seeing results here in BC. We're also seeing them right across the country. In Nunavut, $10 a day licensed childcare is now a reality. In Nova Scotia and in many other provinces and territories, fees are now reduced by half. We said we'd make childcare more affordable for families, and we're keeping that promise. Now, conservative politicians think we should do less for families and less for the middle class. They campaigned against our childcare agreements and threatened to cancel the progress we've made. They voted against the Canada Dental benefit that'll help parents send their kids to the dentist. But our government will continue to stand up for families. On continue notre travail pour rendre la vie plus abordable. Et ensemble, on bâtit une économie centrée sur le bien-être de tous les gens de la Colombie-Britannique et de tous les Canadiens. So thank you all for being here. I'm now very pleased to pass it over to my friend and yours, David Eby. David.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. It's an honor to be here with everybody today on the territory of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam people. Thank you so much, Chief Sparrow, for starting us off in a good way, and nice to see you, and thank you again for hosting the swearing-in on Musqueam land. It was a very moving and special day for me. It's nice to see you here again today. At a time when global inflation is driving up costs for families in British Columbia, childcare fees are going down. That's because we are choosing to invest in our kids and in our families. When we launched our Childcare BC plan way back in 2018, there were too few spaces and the fees were too high. And they had been for a long time. Childcare is one of the most expensive bills facing many families, especially those just getting started in life. That's if you could find a space. As working parents with 2 young kids, the struggle to find high-quality, affordable care is one that my wife Kaylee and I understand well. I still remember the moment when she told me that she was pregnant. It was a very special and important moment for our family, and we reflected on how it was going to change our lives and how exciting it was. And literally the next sentence we said is, we got to get on childcare wait lists. We know that access to high-quality, affordable childcare unlocks opportunity for families. And it's not just good news for families with young kids, it's good news for everybody, because it helps us respond to the labor shortages we're seeing in our economy. It helps people get to work to build our economy. It helps stressed out families, and it helps build our entire province, and as you heard from the Prime Minister, our entire country. So our government got to work on our goal, which is to make accessible, affordable, high-quality, inclusive childcare a core service that every family in our province can rely on. Richmond Day School, where we are today, is a great example of the multiple pieces of our childcare plan all working together to deliver for families. We've been working hard to expand access to licensed childcare through the new Spaces Fund that we set up. Like many centres in BC, this one, where we are here today, received funding to create more urgently needed childcare spaces. Now, spaces mean nothing unless there are early childhood educators who are there supporting the kids that need those services. So early childhood educators working in this centre have also seen their wages enhanced by up to $4 an hour. Our investments in early childhood educator wage enhancements have helped bring the median wage in BC for these vital workers to $26 an hour. This is essential to recruiting and retaining the skilled workforce we need to support kids and families in childcare, because we can't open new spaces without professionals to staff them. And we've been directly funding this and many other centres across the province to lower fees for families. As of yesterday, in British Columbia, families are seeing their childcare bills reduced once again, with support much appreciated from the federal government. This time, families will save up to $550 more a month per child. This is on top of the fee cut we introduced in 2018. Savings of hundreds of dollars every month on childcare is a game changer for families. And we do have, you've heard, much anticipated, Rayout Dahan is here to tell us about her family's experience. And thanks to this latest fee cut, she's going to save $1,000 a month on her childcare bills. It makes a real difference for a family that's just getting started. And for Rayout, access to childcare means she can re-enter the workforce and practice as an engineer. We all benefit when families can afford to access safe, high-quality childcare. Right now, businesses in every sector of our economy are struggling to find the skilled workers they need to keep running at full capacity. Providing parents with affordable, high-quality childcare means that those parents can continue working and relieves a little bit of stress in their lives. That's good news for moms like Rayout, who can continue building their careers. It's good news for dads, who can continue building their careers. It's good for our entire economy. I believe BC should be a place where everybody can build a good life. For young families, access to affordable childcare is an essential element of that. We still have so much more to do, but I'm proud of the progress we've made. And of course, we didn't do it alone, as you see on the stage and as you heard from the Prime Minister. Governments need to work together to deliver for families in our country. Every parent that sees their fees go down should thank their childcare providers as well. We couldn't do it without providers. And we can't do it without a strong federal partner. With that, I'd like to ask the Honourable Karina Gould, Federal Minister of Families, Children and Social Development, to come up and say a few words.
I'm going to move this down a little bit. But look, thank you so much, Premier, for your partnership. And thank you so much, Minister Chen. We have a great working relationship and a great opportunity to do this. And I want to say a big thank you to our Prime Minister. Because of his visionary leadership, we made this historic investment that families are experiencing right now. I don't have much more to add. I think the Prime Minister and the Premier said it so well, except that we're here to celebrate. Just 18 months ago, we signed the first childcare agreement with British Columbia, and here we are today, celebrating the fact that childcare fees have been reduced by 50% for British Columbia families. I think we should applaud for that. And what's so exciting about this is the fact that it's benefiting our families, it's benefiting our children. I had the opportunity to speak with Sarah, who's the executive director here, who was talking about how excited the families who attend the childcare center are, what a meaningful difference this is making in their day-to-day lives. The Prime Minister and the Premier spoke about the fact that everything is expensive right now. It costs a lot to raise children. And the fact that families in this province are going to be saving up to $6,000 a year is real money in real pockets of real Canadians. That's going to help them pay for food, for winter clothing, as apparently you now need in British Columbia, you know, for other activities and things that are essential to supporting healthy, active, successful development of our children. C'est vraiment un plaisir d'être ici de retour pour célébrer cet moment. C'est vraiment un moment historique, c'est transformationnel, non seulement pour les familles, mais aussi pour notre économie. Le Premier ministre a parlé du fait que pour les femmes canadiennes, ça représente une opportunité de retourner à la travail. Ça représente une opportunité pour les familles d'avoir un sens de sécurité économique. On a vu au Québec pendant les 25 ans que les femmes québécoises ont le plus haut taux de travailler avec les enfants moins de 4 ans. There is a huge opportunity for us to get women into the workforce. And I like to say that childcare is a home run. It's good for our children, it's good for our families, and it's really good for our economy. And of course, we can't have our early learning and childcare system without the dedicated, talented, and caring workforce that cares for our children. And we had the opportunity to meet some of those amazing early childhood workers here today, who you can see the passion and you can see the commitment. And I do want to take a moment to applaud British Columbia for the wage top-ups that they have provided for early childhood workers, because we can't grow the system. We can't expand and ensure that as many children and families as possible have access to childcare without an important recruitment and retention initiative. Just this Wednesday, childcare workers across the country had a campaign, Dots for Spots, so that we value and appreciate the role that they play. We know that it's not just taking care of our children, but it's setting them up for success. You know, we have so much more work to do as we continue making sure that childcare is available for all families here in British Columbia, but right across the country. But I'm really excited to be doing that work. You know, as the Prime Minister mentioned, we were in Nova Scotia on Monday. They reduced fees by 50%. We're on track to have fees reduced by 50% from coast to coast to coast in this country. That is transformative, that is historic, and it is thanks to the unbelievable work and partnership that we have with early childhood educators, with longtime advocates, with families, and great provincial partners like we have with the province of British Columbia. So, merci encore tout le monde pour être ici. Merci pour l'appui. Et aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment une journée de célébration. Merci.
Thank you so much, as always, Minister Gould, and of course the Prime Minister, and also the leadership of our Premier David Eby, to work together to be able to bring services for families. But this really takes partnership. It always, you know, people say that it takes a whole village to raise a child, and it is very true. And we are unable to do this work without the providers and early childhood educators who are working on the front line every single day. And when I see some of our municipal representatives here, we also really want to thank your partnerships, such as City of Richmond and municipalities across BC, and also many Indigenous First Nations rights holders, and also communities that have really partnered with us to bring this work together. So now I would also, of course, to thank our childcare providers, such as the Jewish daycare that's right here and the day school that has been providing inclusive, quality services for BC families. We now have over providers that covers over 97% of spaces joining our program, which is historic, and it is a great achievement. So the Jewish Day School and Childcare Center, of course, is an important partner. So let's welcome the principal, Sabrina Bojani, to say a few words. Thank you.
Shalom and Bokato. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Richmond Jewish Day School. Our school is extremely proud to be a part of the multicultural fabric that's Richmond. Here, we have more than 20 different cultural institutions on what is known as the Highway to Heaven. This 3-kilometer stretch holds over 20 places of worship and truly reflects the diversity of our city, our province, and our country. Richmond Jewish Day School opened its doors to our early child care program, which includes childcare for infants, for toddlers, for preschool and for school-aged children. We just opened this facility last September and now can provide families with high-quality, affordable childcare in an inclusive licensed facility that truly honors Jewish heritage and traditions. This culturally relevant programming enables our students to be authentic in who they truly are, and it promotes the self-efficacy they need in order to be successful. We are extremely grateful to the Government of Canada and to the Government of BC, who have truly prioritized early learning and childcare. I want to thank them for their support in helping us to create new early learning spaces, as well as reducing childcare fees for our families. We have a very closely knit school community, comprised of working families, and some who are even new to Canada, all of them who have really felt the pinch with the high cost of living. So I want to once again thank you for your investments in childcare, which will have long-lasting positive effects on the well-being of children and families for years to come. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Sabrina, for your incredible work, and thanks to your early childhood educators and childcare professionals for their work as well. And of course, we're here for families. And it was interesting, I was looking around the room that I noticed that there's a lot of politicians here with young family, including right here, all of us, and also our colleagues from Richmond as well, that I think as parents, we all know that childcare struggle and we all have different stories. So it is very important that we hear from parents about how our childcare investment is critical for not just the well-being of their children, but the well-being of their family and their ability to be able to contribute to our economy. So that's welcome Ryut Dahan, a parent of 3 children right here at this Quality Center. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored and also very nervous to be here, and I'm very happy to be given the stage to speak in front of members of the Government of BC and the Government of Canada about how childcare fee reduction initiative impacts our lives. My name is Ryut. My husband and I have 3 kids, an 18-month-old toddler, a 4-year-old preschooler, and a 7-year-old elementary school student. I think I speak on behalf of myself as well as for my fellow parents and guardians as I say this program is absolutely life-changing for us in many aspects of our lives. First and foremost, the program makes licensed, high-quality, and safe education available to all. No more having to compromise on temporary or ad hoc childcare solutions for our children. Knowing that you can afford the childcare center of your choice is the type of thing that helps you sleep better at night. The fee reduction in the financial climate these days is so helpful in relieving the financial stress associated with childcare. With this amazing initiative, my family will now be saving over $1,000 a month. Yeah. And I cannot wait for the full deployment of the $10 a day program across the province and the country. This program makes it much easier for the both of us to be able to work a full-time job with peace of mind, knowing that our kids are well taken care of and are benefiting from affordable yet quality education. And there's another benefit in this for us. Naturally, many childcare centers are either on or close to school grounds that usually offer before and after school care. So in addition to all I've mentioned, having our daycare center located on school grounds makes us the happy parents of 3 kids that are all being dropped off and picked up from the same location at the same time. Next year, when my middle child goes to kindergarten, her before and after school care fees would also be reduced thanks to this initiative. So we know that good things are ahead. Finally, I'd like to thank you all, really, for working around the clock to implement the childcare fee reduction initiative and for taking it towards the $10 a day plan. And most of all, I'd like to thank you for putting early childhood education and kids education in general a top priority. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ryu. And we know that your story is not the only story. Every single day when we're doing this work, we've been hearing about how having access to quality, affordable childcare makes a huge difference for families and children. Just yesterday, I got an email from a mom who said this is the first time in the past few years that she's able to buy proper Christmas gift for her kids, thanks to the fee reduction. We're hearing from parents who are able to buy a car, pay for better options for housing, more food on the table, and more options for their families. And lots of moms, I know Ryu is an engineer. We have parents, and well, I say mom because this has been a gender equity issue for many years, but many parents are able to go back to work as professionals and contribute to our economy. And I have one last good news to share is that we're also very well underway to reach our target of more than doubling our 10-a-day childcare spaces. We've just processed another 2,000 spaces the past few weeks. And thanks to the federal partnership and working with local communities, providers, early childhood educators, we're quite confident that we can reach our goal of 12,500 spaces very, very soon of the $10 a day dedicated spaces. But parents, don't forget, if you're not in a $10 dedicated site, you also have the fee reduction program. And for families up to the income of $111,000, you can also apply for the additional affordable childcare benefits that can bring your fees down to $10 a day or less or no cost at all. Because we want to make sure access to inclusive quality childcare is no longer a barrier for families. It's not a luxury that's nice to have. It's a necessity that families can count on. It's a core service that all families should be able to have. So thank you so much for being here today, and we'll now go to questions. Thanks.
Thank you, and I'll start the question period with the first reporter. One question, one follow-up, and we'll be taking questions for 20 minutes. On va prendre des questions pour 20 minutes. On commence avec le premier journaliste.
This one's for the Prime Minister. Thank you so much. This is on behalf of two colleagues for Global News. The first being, why hasn't your government designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization yet? You have previously stated you would use all the tools at your disposal to hold the Iranian regime to account. And isn't that one of your tools?
We are looking and continuing to look at all ways to ensure that the Iranian regime knows that its continued reprehensible behavior is absolutely unacceptable. We stand with the family of Mahsa Amini and all those Iranian women and allies, schoolgirls and grandmothers standing up against this brutal regime. We stand with partners around the world who are pushing back and defending and speaking out for the Iranian people against this terrible government. We have brought in some of the strongest sanctions in the world against the Iranian regime, and we also listed them under some of the strongest provisions available to Canada. Now, these are immigration-related restrictions that we've used a few times before, but only in the most serious situations. We're talking about the perpetrators of the Bosnian war crimes or the Rwandan genocide, to ensure that the top 50% of the leadership of the Iranian regime, including the IRGC, is now permanently banned from ever being able to come to Canada and have a safe haven here. Even if there was a total change over in Iran, the people that we have now listed will be forever banned for what they are doing right now. These are some of the strongest measures anyone has put forward, and we will continue to look at the effective and impactful measures that we can continue to do to both stand up against the Iranian regime, but also support the Iranian people demanding and fighting for their freedom.
Following up.
Thank you, Prime Minister. As well, another veteran has come forward testifying before a parliamentary committee that she was offered medical assistance in dying by a Veterans Affairs Canada employee. Why would your government claim this was an isolated incident, publicly downplaying veterans' concerns and clearly without an appropriate investigation? And how can you continue to have confidence in your Veteran Affairs Minister?
I have said repeatedly that this is absolutely unacceptable. And as soon as we heard about this, we took action. We are following up with investigations. We are changing protocols to ensure what should seem obvious to all of us, that it is not the place of Veterans Affairs Canada, who are there to support those people who stepped up to serve their country, to offer them medical assistance in dying as a matter of course. The issue of medical assistance in dying is a deeply personal one. It is a deeply difficult one for individuals and families to take on at an extraordinarily challenging moment in their lives. And it's something that we have to ensure is gotten right. Yes, Canada stepped up to recognize people's rights and people's right to choose, but we also did so in a way that put in significant safeguards to ensure that the most vulnerable are protected. And getting that balance right is something that we have to do every single day and be very careful about. And we will continue to listen to experts, work with partners, make improvements where we need to make sure that the regime we have that is all about defending people's rights and giving them choices is also protecting people who deserve protection, including veterans who serve this country with incredible distinction.
Next question.
Hi, it's Maria Rantanen with the Richmond News. The coroner's report came out again. 179 people died in October of drug poisonings. Looking at other numbers, BC Ambulance responded to 35,000 overdose calls last year. I'm wondering whether you have spoken with Premier Eby on your visit here about looking at safe supply and bringing in safe supply to combat this drug poisoning crisis.
Yes, I had a good conversation about it with the Premier just now, but we're also working very, very closely through our ministers and appropriate officials to continue to move forward to counter this horrific opioid epidemic and drug poisoning epidemic that is facing people not just in vulnerable communities, but in suburban and large and small cities across the province and across the country. We know that anchoring ourselves in science and data, making sure that issues of harm reduction, safe consumption are put to the forefront. We were happy to move forward with BC in landmark steps on drug supply just a number of months ago, but we know there's much more to do, and we will continue to work hand in hand with the province on leading in making sure that people are kept safe. We know, unfortunately, that conservative politicians continue to disregard science, disregard data in their approach on these, as unfortunately the Leader of the Opposition reminded us in an incredibly ignorant video just a few weeks ago. But on this side, with thoughtful partners like the Government of BC, we will continue to be grounded in what works, in compassion, in evidence, and in keeping people out of the justice system and focusing on addiction as a health issue. But I'm happy to turn to Premier for a few words on this.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We know that addiction is a health issue, and supporting people struggling with addiction, keeping them alive and giving them an opportunity to get into treatment, to turn their lives around is essential. I'm really glad to have a strong partner in the federal government on this issue, supporting BC and taking the steps necessary to support people to keep them alive so that they have that opportunity to access treatment. And we have a lot of work to do in our healthcare system, which was key in our conversations, and mental health and addiction responses as part of our public healthcare system, making sure we're supporting people and families. I've already talked with too many parents who've lost kids, too many families who have been hurt by the overdose crisis, and British Columbia will continue to do everything possible to address the toxic drug supply and to support people struggling with addiction and address this issue in our province.
I wonder if you have a timeline on that, whether people can see this happening quickly. There's a crisis going on.
So British Columbia has led the way nationally responding to the opioid overdose crisis, the toxic drug supply crisis that we're facing. We've had an important partnership with the federal government to try to separate people from those who are selling toxic drugs and get them connected to drugs that are not going to kill them, that are going to keep them alive. As part of my public safety announcement just a week and a half ago, talking about a new model of care with St. Paul's at Providence Healthcare, where people who show up in the emergency room recovering from an overdose can go immediately from the emergency room to detox to treatment. So when they have that moment of clarity, that we can grab them and support them in building a new life. This is what you'll see from our government: continued work on this essential and important issue, and an acceleration of our work wherever possible to end the needless deaths that we're seeing.
Next question.
Francis Plourde, Radio-Canada, une question pour le Premier ministre. On apprend que des fonctionnaires se préparent en vue d'un autre convoi de la liberté en février. Est-ce que vous pouvez qualifier le niveau de préparation et est-ce que la loi sur les mesures d'urgence est écartée d'emblée?
Je pense qu'on a beaucoup appris et je pense que les corps policiers à travers le pays ont beaucoup appris de ce qui s'est passé au mois de février passé. Et je m'attends à ce que les outils dont les corps policiers disposent soient mis en place pour assurer qu'on n'ait pas une répétition de l'occupation qui a fait mal à énormément de gens au cours de la dernière année. Je pense que c'est important de souligner qu'on s'attend absolument à ce que les Canadiens aient la liberté de s'exprimer, d'être en désaccord avec des politiques, de faire des manifestations. C'est extrêmement important, ça fait partie de notre démocratie. Mais on va toujours encourager les gens de se faire entendre. Mais ils ne peuvent pas le faire de façon à faire mal aux autres citoyens. Et c'est ce à quoi on s'attend à ce que la police, les policiers de juridiction puissent gérer.
En suivi.
Réaction suite à des révélations de l'émission Enquête hier concernant l'importation de matières fécales humaines contaminées au Québec et en Ontario en provenance des États-Unis. Ottawa compte-t-il se pencher sur cette question et si oui, comment et quand?
Évidemment, on va regarder avec attention ce rapport. Il y a des allégations extrêmement troublantes qui ont été soulevées. On va faire des suivis.
Next question.
Lindsay Duncombe, CBC National News. Prime Minister, I'd like to get you to comment on a leaked letter from the ambassador to the EU on new proposed rules on forestry products. Specifically, why does your government have concerns about the definition around those rules, including forest degradation in addition to deforestation? And what concerns do you have about environmental NGOs alleging that your government's green promises don't line up to actual industrial practices such as clear-cut logging?
First of all, Canada has been one of the world leaders on nature protection and biodiversity, and we're going to continue that leadership in the coming week as we host COP15 on nature in Montreal, where we'll be gathering together countries from around the world to talk about how we can continue to protect nature, protect biodiversity that is so essential to resilience of our ecosystems and success of our communities, and do so in an ambitious way with partners across the country and around the world. Obviously, the government of BC is a strong and steadfast partner when it comes to protecting nature, and that's just a great example of the work that we will continue to do and lead on. We're on our way to protecting 30% of our land, 30% of our oceans by 2030. That's the target we're pushing around the world. We went from 1% of our coastal areas protected when we took office in 2015 to now just over 14%. We're on our way to 30%. So there's a lot that we're doing. There's a lot that we need to continue doing. In terms of forestry, here in BC, they've been leading the way on sustainable forestry practices. We know how important it is as a driver of jobs in the short and medium term, but it should also be a driver of jobs for the long term as communities continue to rely on good jobs, even in a lower carbon, more environmentally responsible world. And the work we're doing in terms of getting that right is ongoing. There are always going to be challenges we're facing, but we're always going to be working to improve every step of the way.
But what about that definition, Prime Minister? Because deforestation, of which Canada has a 0.02% deforestation rate, is about forests that have changed to a totally different purpose. They are roads and mines and logs. Degradation is about where animals can live. And, you know, moose can't run around in trees that are only up to your knees. So how are you going to respond to the fact that practices don't line up to what is needed in this climate emergency for biodiversity as well as for carbon capture?
We're going to continue to lead the world in how we protect nature, how we demonstrate sustainable practices, and how we include Canadians and their concerns around it. We know people want to see protected areas, and strong biodiversity for future generations. We know they want to have jobs that are enhancing and protecting the future of their children at the same time, and that's exactly what we're going to continue working on.
Next question.
Good morning. My name is Parmeet from Red FM. My question to you is, many Canadians are saying that you and your party policies are the reason for inflation. What would you like to say to those people who are hurting financially?
You know, I was just had the opportunity to meet with a number of fellow world leaders in Asia, whether it was in Bangkok or in Phnom Penh or in Indonesia, where we were talking directly about the global inflation crisis, and it's hitting everyone around the world. Most people significantly harder than it's hitting Canadian families. Of course, that's cold comfort for people who are having trouble paying their bills here at home. But to know that we are not alone in this, and indeed we're able to give supports and be there for Canadians in ways that other countries with not as solid fiscal situations aren't able to, should be somewhat of a reassurance. And the conversations we're having with countries around the world to highlight that this is about coming out of a pandemic. This is about the disruption of supply chains that pandemic caused. It's about Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine and the fact that energy prices and food prices around the world are being hiked because of Russia's irresponsible actions. This is a global inflation phenomenon. But the solutions to support Canadians are very much local. That's why we're so pleased to be able to announce today, in partnership with the government of BC, that childcare fees are dropping by half here in BC and across the country. That's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month for families that will have that money there to buy groceries, to help pay rent, to buy Christmas presents. That was something the Conservative Party voted against. We're also moving forward on support for low-income renters. We're moving forward on support so families can send their kids to the dentists who couldn't afford to before that. Those are direct supports for families in a very real way. Again, Conservative politicians voted against those measures. Actually, the biggest advice and support that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives gave to Canadians on avoiding inflation was buy cryptocurrencies. If Canadians had invested in crypto when Pierre Poilievre told them they could opt out of inflation by investing in crypto, people would have seen half of their life savings disappeared. That's not responsible leadership. Responsible leadership is moving forward with concrete supports to help people through this global crisis. Whether it's with childcare, whether it's with dental care, whether it's with support for low-income renters, whether it's support with a GST rebate, whether it's Canada Child Benefit indexed to the cost of living. We are a government that has been there for Canadians and will continue to, not just because it's the right thing to do, But we saw during the pandemic, investing to support Canadian families and small businesses and seniors and young people so we could get through the tough times, guaranteed that our economy would come roaring back faster than the United States, faster than other parts of the world. That's what this government has delivered, and that's what we're going to continue to do for Canadians.
Following up.
Yes, according to media polls, there has been decline in yours as well as Liberal Party popularity. So how is the morale in caucus and how do you plan to change this trend?
The reality is our caucus is entirely focused on delivering for Canadians. While other people are pointing fingers and saying ridiculous things like Canada is broken, we're going to continue to be there for Canadians. We're going to continue to work with them. We're going to continue to give them the supports necessary so you can build a stronger future for your kids with childcare fees reduced. You can send your kids to the dentist when you couldn't afford to before. You can have extra money in your pockets for Christmas presents with our GST doubling rebate. These are things we're doing concretely because we know that times are tough. But we also know that Canadians demonstrate time and time again, in difficult moments, we pull together. We lean on each other. We roll up our sleeves. We help each other out. That's what is incredible about this country. And that's why, even through the difficult times, I have unlimited confidence in Canadians' capacity to get through this when we all work together. Orders of government, community organizations, civil society, volunteers, all of us pulling together optimistically and positively for a better country.
We'll take one last question.
Okay, perfect. Brianna Shalabah, Canadian Press. Hi, Prime Minister. The Canadian Coalition of Firearm Rights online shop recently offered a 10% off clothing, mugs, and other merchandise using the promo code POLY. What do you think of this firearms group invoking the name of Police Souvent Gun Control Group, which was born out of the 1989 mass shooting in Montreal, to sell merchandise?
I think Canadians are all united in wanting to see less gun crime. I think Canadians understand that we need to have safer communities. Nobody is in disagreement with that. Unfortunately, we see the gun lobby working with the Conservative Party of Canada to spread misinformation, to use fear, to sow division, by trying to mislead Canadians. When the reality is, we are stepping up by freezing the market on handguns across the country, meaning there will be no more handguns in this country, by making sure that military-style assault weapons, guns designed to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time, are no longer legal in this country to buy, to sell, to own, to use. We did that a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the Conservative Party has made it very clear they want to make assault weapons legal again in this country. I'm sorry. Canadians know that while we will always respect the rights of law-abiding hunters and farmers to use shotguns and rifles, there are certain guns that have no place in our communities, no place anywhere in Canada. And that's what we promised to Canadians we would move forward on. And that's exactly what we're doing.
And my last question is, there's an issue we are way behind our allies in rectifying, and now we're hearing your ministers won't testify at the Senate about it. Why haven't you lifted the barriers to getting aid to Afghanistan?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
There's an issue we are way behind our allies in rectifying, and we're now hearing your ministers won't testify in the Senate about it. Why haven't you lifted the barriers to getting aid in Afghanistan?
Oh, aid in Afghanistan, yes. Canada, like other countries around the world, have recognized, long recognized, that the Taliban is a terrorist organization responsible for horrific violence both in their own country and elsewhere around the world. And rightly, we listed them as a terror organization. We're now facing the challenge that the Taliban is now the government in Afghanistan. We do not recognize them as government, but we know that Afghans, particularly Afghan women and girls, are incredibly vulnerable with them as a government, and we need to try and figure out how to get aid to communities and individuals who are hurting in Afghanistan without supporting and funding the terrorist organization that is their government right now. It's a complex situation. We have a number of allies who've moved forward on it, and we are looking to do the same. Canada has a long history of stepping up for Afghanistan, and we will continue to be there for the Afghan people, but we have to do it in a way that doesn't support or embolden the government that is busy oppressing and doing violence to them.
Thank you very much. This is what concludes the press conference. C'est ce qui met fin à la conférence de presse d'aujourd'hui.
Thank you so much.